Okay, let's dive right into this explainer where we're going to unpack one of the most cryptic, layered, and frankly fascinating warnings in all of ancient text. We're talking about the second angel's message of Revelation. Today, we're looking at how this ancient passage describes humanity as being spiritually intoxicated and what that actually means for us. So here is the verse in question, Revelation 14:8. Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Now, at first glance, this ancient verse sounds completely bizarre. It's deeply cryptic, it's heavy on the prophetic imagery, and for a lot of modern readers, it's just incredibly intimidating. I mean, it immediately begs the question, right? Babylon? Wine? Fornication? What do these strange, archaic symbols actually mean? Are they just poetic nonsense, or are they hiding a very specific, targeted warning about the systems of power that surround us every single day? Let's rapidly decode this with a high-level breakdown. 1. Humanity is deceived. 2. This deception has global influence. 3. The world is spiritually intoxicated. 4. This corrupt system is guaranteed to fall. And 5. The whole thing is actually a merciful call to escape before that collapse happens. Section 1. What is Babylon? Let's look at the origin of the symbol. To truly understand this warning, we really have to look back. Ancient Babylon wasn't just some clever metaphor. It was a literal, historical empire that deeply traumatized the ancient Jewish people. This was the empire that swept in, conquered Jerusalem, completely destroyed the sacred temple, and literally carried God's people away into exile. And because of that massive historical trauma, Babylon basically became the ultimate biblical symbol of arrogant rebellion. But here is the real key to unlocking Revelation. This book was written centuries after the historical city of Babylon had already fallen into ruins. That means the writer was using it as a powerful code word. In this text, Babylon symbolizes human pride, oppressive empires, and really any civilization that organizes itself completely apart from or actively against the divine. Moving to section 2, unpacking the strange symbols and decoding the prophetic text. Now, let's peel back the layers of those other strange words in the verse. First up, the wine. And no, the text is not talking about some ancient happy hour here. In biblical prophetic symbolism, wine represents false teachings, corrupt values, and incredibly seductive lies. Just think about how physical alcohol clouds your judgment and impairs your senses. Well, this spiritual wine is an intoxicating deception that clouds the mind. It literally causes people to lose their spiritual bearings, leading them to mistakenly call evil good, truth oppressive, and rebellion freedom. Next up is fornication. Again, we're not talking about literal sexual immorality here. It's a highly symbolic use of Old Testament covenant language. In those ancient texts, God's covenant with Israel was deeply relational, actually often portrayed as a marriage. So when God's people compromised the truth to get worldly power, or when they worshipped idols, it was described as spiritual adultery. It basically means abandoning your covenant loyalty in exchange for corrupt alliances. And then we have the word wrath. Now, the phrase wine of the wrath can sound kind of clunky, but that word implies a fiercely passionate, intense energy. It shows just how aggressively, powerfully, and frankly destructively this seductive deception spreads its influence all over the world. It's not some passive thing slowly fading away. It is an active, conquering deception. Section 3. From Babel to Rome, the evolution of an empire. You see, Babylon isn't just a one-time historical blip. It's a transgenerational archetype. Let's trace this timeline. It starts millennia ago at the Tower of Babel, which represents humanity uniting in pride and self-exaltation. Then you hit the 6th century BC with ancient Babylon, marked by sheer oppression and idolatry. Fast forward to the 1st century AD, and you've got the Roman Empire violently demanding emperor worship. And finally, Revelation points to an end-time Babylon, which is this massive globalized system of spiritual deception. At every single stage, the symbol just grows larger and more encompassing. What's super fascinating here is understanding what those 1st century readers actually heard. For early Christians who were living under severe persecution, Babylon was a brilliant coded reference to Rome. Because Rome functioned exactly like ancient Babylon did, right? Imperial dominance, extreme idolatry, economic exploitation. Using this code allowed believers to sharply critique the empire and talk about its impending doom without openly naming Rome, which, let's be honest, would have resulted in their immediate execution. Section 4. The illusion of invincibility and why human systems fall.
This brings us to a massive theme in this explainer. These powerful human systems always appear absolutely invincible right before they completely collapse. Remember how the verse says Babylon is fallen, is fallen. It repeats it. In Hebrew prophetic style, repetition isn't just a poetic echo, it's a tool to intensify certainty. Repeating is fallen means the collapse of this corrupt system is a done deal. It is absolutely certain, complete, and irreversible from the text's perspective, even if right now, on Earth, it still looks totally untouchable.
According to the text, one of the biggest misconceptions we have is that deception is always obvious. It's really not. Babylon rarely looks overtly evil. It's incredibly dangerous exactly because it appears sophisticated, enlightened, and super prosperous. It can even command religious authority and look highly moral. It's attractive, it's luxurious, and it's influential. And that is the very nature of its seduction. And this brilliantly illustrates the dramatic structure of Revelation 14. Just before this verse, there's a first angel's message. That first message restores truth by calling humanity back to authentic worship of the Creator. Then, boom, immediately the second angel appears to expose the deceptive systems that we need rescuing from. So one restores the truth while the other exposes the lie. It's such a profound sequence. The text makes the argument that the exact moment truth is proclaimed clearly, the falsehood is exposed. It suggests that systems built on deception, human pride, and corruption inevitably collapse under the weight of their own instability. Lies can only survive while they're hidden in the dark, right? The light of truth reveals that their fall is absolutely certain. Section 5. Why this matters today. The modern warning. So how does an ancient coded warning from thousands of years ago apply to us right now? Well, the reality is the archetype feels remarkably modern. Today, we aren't exactly bowing down to golden statues, but the text forces us to look at the intoxicating systems shaping us. Think about the parallels here. Digital echo chambers, extreme political ideologies, endless consumerism, celebrity worship, corrupted religious institutions. These are massive systems that try to define reality, morality, and unity completely apart from the divine. And just like ancient Babylon, this modern deception is incredibly seductive. It doesn't force you into compliance, it intoxicates you. It promises things that sound absolutely amazing on the surface. It promises freedom without accountability, prosperity without righteousness, unity without truth, and spirituality without surrender. It's essentially a counterfeit greatness. So the absolutely crucial point is this. The text is a warning, sure, but fundamentally, it's an act of mercy. It's asking you to look at the systems of culture, power, and ideology all around you, recognize their ultimate instability, and make a conscious choice. Do not give your heart, your loyalty, or your core identity to corrupt systems that are already doomed to collapse under their own weight. I'm going to leave you with this final, pretty sobering thought to consider as you navigate your day-to-day life. In a world that is constantly pushing sophisticated, intoxicating deceptions, what systems are you giving your ultimate loyalty to? Keep questioning the systems around you.